You know, I can't really remember the last time something like this happened in cubing, but I mean, like, where do I even start? So you might have heard that the 2x2 world record average has finally been broken, along with the sub-1 barrier, by none other than Yihang Wang. But in an absolutely chaotic turn of events, this average quickly went under review because there was just some controversy on the internet relating to the average. And it's something that's been a long time coming. I mean, the first time that we really saw that this had potential to actually happen was back in 2021 when Zayn Khanani did this. And that was pretty unfortunate, but then there are also some other attempts that came really close this past year and the year before that. But as you probably know by now, out of absolutely nowhere, Yihang Wang dropped a 0.93 average. And considering this was one of his first averages where he really had a decent chance of breaking the world record, and he drops it by a whole 0.8 seconds, is just absurd. But as it turns out, none of this actually even counts. That's right, all this hype over the first ever sub-1 2x2 average, and it's all gone just like that. And the controversy relating to this average actually does have very, very solid arguments from both sides. Like, it was genuinely really entertaining to see this all unfold. And just when I thought this was going to be actually solidified as the first ever sub-1 2x2 average, now it's just one of the other results near the top. So he did the first couple of solves, and then he gets to the fifth solve, and at this point, he has a 0.93 best possible average. So there was absolutely nothing wrong with the first four solves, but then we get to the last one. And this is what resulted in these huge debates on forums and just people generally thinking that this average should be invalidated. Basically, Yihang was getting ready for his final solve when the judge just lifted the cover before Yihang ever said he was ready. Now, if you're the competitor in this situation, the main thing you would do is just immediately call over a delegate and then ask for an extra solve before actually solving the cube, right? Like, for example, if the judge does something during inspection that distracts you, you just call over the delegate and ask for an extra solve. But Yihang didn't do that, and instead he just continued the solve as normal and got a 1.39. Now, this wasn't the world record and wouldn't have been really anywhere close, but Yihang then proceeded to ask for an extra after doing the solve, because the judge, of course, as he said, lifted the cover and started the inspection time before he was ready. So like I said, he proceeded to do the extra solve and got a 0.79, securing the world record average. And this is what caused all of the controversy. Again, there's good reasoning from both sides as to why or why not this should count, but the main problem people have with this is that Yihang did the solve and then asked for it after, and the delegate basically just said, yeah, sure, and then he did the solve and got the world record. And it makes complete sense to question this, because can't you just do the solve and then see if it's good or not, and if you like get a bad time or you mess up or something, you can just ask the delegate for an extra? While one side, on the other hand, believes it was totally legal to do this because the attempt doesn't actually end until both you and the judge sign the scorecard. What the judge does is also completely out of Yihang's control, so it was just the safe thing for him to do from the solve the cube, because if the judge didn't give him the extra for whatever reason, then it would have just been a DNF. But the other side that says this should not be a world record actually cited their sources a little bit here. And if we look at Regulation 11E, it says the competitor should appeal verbally or in writing to the judge and WCA delegate at the time of the incident. So there was some debate between the original WCA delegate who allowed this to happen and the WRC. And the WRC just ended up reverting it to the original decision, which was that the extra would not count. And this would just count the original attempt he did, which was the 139, instead of the 0.79. Their main argument for doing this was that it wasn't an exceptional enough situation to the point where they could actually, like, justify giving him an extra. And in my personal opinion, I think this makes perfect sense, because it's obviously a very exploitable thing to just have people running around getting extras after doing a solve they didn't like. Which, you know, of course you hope that doesn't happen and that's not their actual motives behind getting the extra solve, but rules are rules, and they have to be enforced the same for everyone, or, you know, they don't really hold any substance at all. So I'm definitely by no means trying to say that Yihang was trying to finesse the system or whatever, but you do have to draw a line at a certain point between what's legal and what's not. And oh yeah, after the changes, his average, at least as of now, is a 1.10, so still in the top 5, but really nowhere near the world record. But anyway, yeah, a really wacky moment. I don't really think many people expected the world record average to be broken this soon, especially not sub-1. But as it turns out, we still don't have a sub-1 average, so maybe Zayn Khanani will still get the first ever sub-1 average. And if you're hearing what I'm saying right now, yes you, please go down to the comments and type RIP Mick World Record, because these solves were in fact done in a McDonald's, and it could have been the first ever world record done in a McDonald's, so it's pretty sad. And did I forget anything else? Oh yeah, you're still slower than a 6-year-old, in case you somehow forgot. I remind you like every video. I don't know how you're still forgetting at this point. You should probably get that checked out. But yeah, you can watch this video up here. You can subscribe up here. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.